Hey everyone, I am back and we are continuing this series. So last time we left off at Genesis chapter 27. It's gotten to the point where Isaac is pretty old in age, and he's about to leave his inheritance to. Typically, you leave your inheritance back in those days to your eldest son, your firstborn son, because they're the one that usually carries out the legacy of the father. So Isaac was dead set on leaving the bulk of his inheritance with Esau, because that was his favorite, and so on and so forth. So Rebekah and Jacob decided to make a plan so that he could technically steal the inheritance. Now, was this the right move? Absolutely not. Okay? This was not the right move. Would have been to really, I don't know how the Lord would have planned it if they did not do it like this. Like, I can't speak on that, because let's be real. I have absolutely, the Lord's wisdom is so much greater than mine. So I can't really say to that. But what I can say is that I'm sure it would have been a lot easier for Jacob later on had they done things the more honest way. But now, of course, Jacob even hints at this when let's see, where is it? I'm trying to find the verse. I can't remember which one it is, but where is it at? Come on now. Well, I kind of know what he says. He tells Rebekah that Isaac's going to curse him if he finds out. And Rebekah says, "Let the curse be on me." So, knowing that he has his mother's full approval, even to the point where she would take his punishment in order for this thing to happen, he goes ahead and does it. So he makes himself out to be just like Esau. He knows Isaac can't see right now, and I guess he disguises his voice. I don't know how he does that, but hey. So he puts on, So he disguises himself. He gets the blessing from Isaac and the inheritance. Then Esau comes around, and once again Isaac says, "You're Esau?" He's like, "Yes, I am Esau." And he's like, "Wait a minute, then who's the other guy?" And then it kind of hits, "Oh, we've been deceived," So once again, and Esau's like, "Well, bless me too, and Isaac's like, "I can't. Your brother already took the blessing. There's nothing more that I can do," but so on and so forth. And Esau basically vows he's going to destroy his brother. He's going to kill him. And knowing this, Rebekah sends Jacob out to her brother Laban, I think. I believe it's Laban. Yep. Yep, Laban. Okay, there we go. I had to confirm that. Anyway, so Jacob goes to Rebekah's brother Laban, and there he serves him. In return, he gets a wife of his choosing. Now he wanted Rachel. However, this is actually something I wanted to bring up that confuses a lot of people. Now, if you read the Bible, this part of the scripture, you'll think that nothing bad happened to Jacob. Okay? The Lord just let him off the hook, even though he did something really, really deceitful. And I just want to say that's not the case whatsoever. So let's see here. So here's where he actually leaves. He actually talks to Isaac about it, and he blesses him on his way, so on and so forth. So Jacob went out from Beersheba to her and went towards Haran, and he laid upon a certain place all night, and so on and so forth. And he goes to sleep, and the Lord gives him a dream. This dream is basically the beginning of Israel. Like, this is the Lord's plan for him. And it just shows how much the Lord has planned for for Jacob. I mean, he's basically going to be the heir to the 12 tribes of Israel. I mean, this is the beginning of Israel as a nation. Once everything gets settled. So, anyway. So we made an altar, so on and so forth. So he continued on his journey. Okay. So, here's where he finds. Okay. Yeah, here's where he finds Laban. So, he meets Rachel right off the bat, and he, like I said before, he immediately fell in love with her. So he promised Laban that he would work for him for 7 years in return for Rachel as his wife. So they do all that, so on and so forth. And he actually goes and they lay together. Okay? We all know what that's about by now. So at this point, Jacob thinks Rachel is his. That's that. But then in chapter 29, verse, I think it was 13. Was it 13? No, maybe not. Well, anyway, so he goes to lay with Rachel, but when he after everything's done, so on and so forth, he realizes it's not Rachel, it's Leah, her sister, the elder one. So he goes to Laban and is like, "What's going on? Why has this happened? Why is this not Rachel but instead Leah?" And basically Laban tricked him into having Leah. Now, why did he do this? Mostly so I think he could get more work out of Jacob, because he really worked hard for him. I mean, 7 years, no complaints whatsoever. Did everything. He was a very good worker. Why wouldn't you want him around? So he deceived him, so that he could continue to stay and work for him. So, remember going back to when Jacob deceived Isaac and Esau. There you have it. That this is his punishment for what he did to them. It might not have been so bad had he not done that, but I mean, this is how the Lord corrects people. This is how he chastises. Whenever you sin against him, especially a willful sin like what he did, you're going to have to go through a certain level of chastisement or punishment, as you will. I mean, I had to go through it before I became who I am today, as far as who I am to the Lord, before he changed me. And this is how the Lord is absolutely with you, is when you sin against him, and then he corrects you. I mean, that correction is to bring you to him, not to drive you, not because, that's just, it just doesn't make any sense why people It's I can't explain it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Especially all you Christians, you all know what I'm talking about. But that's how you know that the Lord is with you, is when He chastises you for something you know you did. But anyway, so Jacob at first did not like the fact that he was with Leah. Like, he had no intention on that. But see, the Lord here says, and when the Lord saw that Leah was hated by Jacob, we can obviously assume this is Jacob here, He opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. See, now, He did eventually get Rachel. He did eventually. But it took a long time. I think, yeah, so eventually he did indeed get Rachel as his wife, but she wouldn't conceive because of how much hatred Jacob had for Leah. I mean, he had to be with Leah because, you couldn't just turn her away after what had happened. I mean, that'd be a broken covenant. It wasn't one he intended to have, but at the same time, there's no choice at this point. It's over. It's done. So, since the Lord saw how much he despised Leah in his heart, He made Leah conceive. He had Rachel barren because, yeah. But that doesn't mean the promise that the Lord had is gone. It's still going to be the 12 tribes. It says that most of those tribes are going to be from Leah. Okay, so here's the 12 tribes. You got Simeon, you got Levi. I know there's a whole lot more than that. Let's see here. Now he's also Bilhah, which is Rachel's handmaid, is also conceiving for him, who can give him even more sons. But Rachel does indeed eventually conceive, and that's Joseph and Benjamin, which Benjamin cost her life, but it's the Lord's will. Anyway, so here are all the tribes of Israel right here. So anyway, moving on. So there's 6. So at this point, after all the tribes of Israel have basically been conceived, this is when Jacob tries to leave Laban, but Laban does not want him to leave because of all the good work he had done and everything. Laban would be losing a great deal by having Jacob and all of his, all of what he has be gone. But eventually he does indeed leave. And then the next obstacle for Jacob will be Esau. Because apparently let's see here. Make sure I'm not jumping ahead of anything before I go on to that. So we're still dealing with Laban. And okay. Okay, so they know. Okay, so here's where Esau. So Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, and commanded them, saying, Thus you shall speak unto Esau, and blah yada yada yada. So Esau goes to meet. Like that was the whole plan. He goes to meet with his brother Jacob, and And Jacob, after their last encounter and what he had done, is terrified of his brother. Like, now, he has a lot of servants. He has, he has people with him, but he's the head of all of that. He has to protect them, and the last thing he obviously is going to want is a war between Esau and Esau's people and Jacob's people. So he is absolutely terrified of all this. But in the midst of his, all of what he's going through, the angel of the Lord, which I still believe is Christ in the Old Testament, comes and he actually wrestles. He actually literally fights and wrestles with the angel of the Lord. And I mean, he wrestled with him all the way until dawn. Could you imagine wrestling with an angel of the Lord, even if it's not Jesus, okay? Until dawn, and it was clearly hurt because I believe it says his shoulder was dislocated. I think, his thigh. Okay, it's out of joint. Man, that's amazing. But he says, "I will not let go. I will not let you go until you bless me." And he said, "Your name shall no more be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have the power of God and with men and have prevailed." Absolutely amazing. I mean, he literally wrestled with an angel of the Lord. Just wow. And that's why he got the name Israel. And that is why Israel started. I mean, that's the beginning. I mean, I know Abraham was technically the beginning, but hey. But either way, so here comes Esau with his 400 men. And at this point, if you're Jacob, you're thinking, okay, it's game on, here we go, But instead of a war, they embraced. They had a warm embrace. They both wished each other well, and it couldn't have gone any better. They just wished each other, good luck on their journeys, and went on. Now, a few videos ago, I was talking about how the Lord hated Esau. That was obviously mentioned several times, especially in the New Testament. And that's still the case because of what Esau gave up, for things that were so frivolous and minuscule. That's still the same. But I mean, it's sad when I read verses like this where he's so forgiving of what Jacob did to him. It makes me think, oh well, but obviously that's not the case. Obviously, I mean, you can't say that Esau's in heaven. You can't. Not when the New Testament clearly says that the Lord hated him. I mean, that's impossible. But either way, it is what it is, right? Anyway, they reconciled and everything's good with them. And then Jacob continues his journey. So Jacob had a daughter too named Dinah, and let's see, they went out to see the daughters of the land, and anyway, so I believe this is where. So Shechem and Hamor were trying. Okay, so this is where one of his daughters was defiled by someone. Let's see, Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite. So he's a Hivite prince. So he basically, in a way, he raped her. So, and his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto her. Jacob. So after Jacob heard what had happened, the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved because of all this that had happened. Committed with them, saying, so Shechem was in love with Jacob's daughter Dinah, but he basically raped her, and what a mess. Shechem said, "Let me find grace in your eyes." So he's basically begging for Jacob to give him Dinah, basically begging. And Jacob said, how can I give her to you when you've defiled her? How can I do that? We can't do anything of that sort because of what you have done. Okay, so basically, I believe. So he is basically saying that if you circumcise yourselves, then I will give you Dinah. That's basically what it was. Okay. So, so here Jacob actually scolds Simeon and Levi because I think they're the ones that might have put Dinah in that position. You have troubled me to make stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I, being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. So basically, he's basically mad at Simeon and Levi because he feels like they've made a big scene, and they said, should we deal with our sister as a harlot? So basically, so they go into this land, and Shechem was, like I said, he raped Dinah. He sought after her. Jacob says, if you circumcise yourself, then we consent. But then after all that, he goes into Simeon and Levi and said, this should not have even happened. This is totally uncalled for. So, yeah. So now the Lord tells Jacob to go to Bethel. Okay, so here they go to Bethel and they're trying to adorn Jacob with a bunch of abominable junk that are pagan stuff, so on and so forth. He just got rid of them, which is the right thing to do. It's like you don't want to embarrass people who do that. That's not right. But you don't want. You just got to get rid of them the way you can. You don't want to make you don't want to. Yeah, it's the way Jesus said it was kind as a dove, but wise as a serpent. Kindness showing love to people who don't know any better, but at the same time, wise as in, okay, you know this is wrong, so let's not do that. So he accepts the gifts, then gets rid of them without hurting anyone. So either way. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. So basically, Jacob's traveling through all of these nations that are pagan, idolatrous, evil, and normally you see all that. I mean, look at how Jacob is traveling. He has all this cattle, all this livestock, all these possessions, and then all the people with them. That could be, you could see them as slaves, whatever, servants, whatever you want to call them. And normally in that situation, these people would be flocking to them, trying to take what they can. But the fear of the Lord came upon them because that's just what the Lord does. He's protecting Jacob and his people, and they didn't go after him because of that. Remember, check the time, huh? Ooh, I'm way past. Okay. So we're at Genesis 35. So I am going to continue the rest of this tomorrow. And I think we might be able to get through Genesis tomorrow. Depending. We'll see. Anyway, I hope y'all were edified by this. And hopefully we can continue studying and learning the Bible together. All right. I appreciate it, guys. I'll see you.